Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan and We are here today to talk about the Challenge All-Stars 5, Episode 6. I'm joined by my lovely Vermontian co-host Zoe Trimboli.
Hi, everyone.
And back with us this week, finally, it is our Southern co-host Luke Muncie.
What's up, guys?
I said finally like it's been like a long time. It's been only 1 week.
It feels like a long time.
Your presence was missed, especially as me and Zoe were trying to recall social media drama. And we're like, oh, Luke is really good at this.
Yeah, it just like is ingrained in my brain.
Luke, you missed last week. Adam and Steve won their 4th elimination, taking down Devin and Leroy. Frank also made, Frank and Sam won the daily challenge, made their big move. What were your thoughts on last week's episode?
Yeah, I liked it. My big takeaway is that Dario made a smart move. I understand, like, he betrayed Leroy, but, like, he did it in a way that was going to benefit both their games if Leroy came back. And also, he doesn't come back and do these shows often, so why not give himself the best option to win? I don't know. I thought it was really cool because we don't see that often.
That's also okay. Talking about social media, talking about like not doing 87 seasons in a row at once. There was some social media stuff that happened after last week's episode with Devin making a comment like Sam screwed herself for future seasons and like Frank screwed themselves for future seasons. And I think that's what really like annoys us about these modern challenge seasons, that so many of these people don't play the game for themselves because they're so preoccupied on the idea of what's going to happen on season 42, what's happening on season 43. They play it safe. Frank and Sam are just playing the game in front of them right now.
Yeah. Well, because if you're Sam specifically, like, you're probably never going to be called back. Like, at least not for a main show and probably not for an all-star. So why would you not play your best game? Even if you did want to come back, like, I would much rather win All-Stars 5 and then come back on 42 and be targeted if I still won All-Stars 5. Like, that mentality is so stupid.
Yeah, Sam literally waited 13 years to get back on this show. So to tell her, like, what are you going to do next season? Like, it's kind of a far-fetched thing to say. Now, let's jump into this week's episode. Sam's return has actually been so surprising in terms of how much screen time and impact she's had on the show. We were probably expecting this type of impact to come from Shane and Davon, who were two massive characters the last time they were on the show, and so far this season really have not been on our TV much.
Well, when they had their first segment on this episode, I thought, oh, they're on this season. Like, they had been severely under-edited, or perhaps they've been laying low, but it did feel like, oh crap, they're actually here.
Just play in the middle, silently, just floating along, playing the middle.
It's crazy because these two are typically like magnets for storylines. The last season, they like Final Reckoning, Shane was the biggest male character besides Bananas. Davon was probably the biggest female character on World of Worlds 1 besides Kara. And now they're just not even there. And you'd expect so much drama just to be happening internally between them. Nope.
Well, and Zoe's right, and this is what we're about to talk about. They really are playing a really good middle game. And I know that, like, Davon says she has Fessy, she has Nany, she has Amber B, and then Shane has more of the OGs. And Davon feels like that's a bad thing. I think it's the best thing for anybody's game. Like, we have seen people ride the middle to the very end often. So I think they're in a great spot.
Especially in this format where like having a star makes you in danger, and being one of the weakest teams also puts you in danger. Like, if they wait for the right time to strike and to get a star, if they're able to do it, I think they're in a really good position to make a final.
Yeah, and even with that, like, they can wait to see what side's actually going to keep come out on top and then make their decision. So I love it for them.
I do miss them though, like personality-wise. Like, I miss what they bring to the show with the characters that they are.
Yeah.
So Steve and Adam have gone into 4 straight eliminations. The last time a team had ever done that on a season to start the season was Wes and Casey on Fresh Meat 1. So obviously when Wes and Casey went into those eliminations, on that season, Coral and Evan were the dominant team at the beginning. I kind of feel like we're having a similar season here a bit, where the team that won that season was Darrell and Aviva, and they were not dominating the entire time. They were just kind of staying low. Shane and Devon could really play that same game you guys are talking about. Hopefully, but they also don't have Darrell and Aviv personalities either.
I think there's probably going to be an inevitable blow up, and maybe not with each other, but like somebody's going to call them on the game they're playing, and I do think that could be their demise, but it also could not. They really could just ride it out. And I feel like for both of them, like Davon has had no interest coming back to the challenge. She wants to win the money. Shane has been not call, I don't know, for so long that I think that he's just like, this might be one of my last times on the show. I don't want to be messy as much as I want to actually win. And he even says that in this episode. So that could be what we're seeing.
Between their alliances of like Shane has Veronica and Katie and Adam and Steve as his allies, as his road rules people from all the way back in the day. And then Devon has her big brother people with Fessy, Amber, Nany by proxy as being big brother from Casey.
Yeah.
I think they're also just roommates and they like each other.
Yeah. Okay, but if you had to pick which of these alliances you'd rather stick with, which one would you go with?
Big brother.
Yeah, I would go with Big Brother.
That's a stronger alliance. That's the alliance I would say that like is stronger, but I feel like the other alliance you're more likely to beat in the final.
Well, that for sure.
Yeah, that is true.
But I also think that if both these alliances are taking shots at each other, that those other teams in your alliance, in this Big Brother alliance, are going to catch a stray before you do.
I also think that this Big Brother alliance is more likely to get power at the end game. If it's just them at the end game, I'm more likely to cut you off at the end, though, too.
True. That's why they got to keep playing the middle.
They play both sides, so they're always on top.
Mm-hmm.
We go from this Shane and Davon section to the daily challenge. Devin and Leroy lost, and so their stars up for grabs. Steve and Adam did not get the power to switch around stars. Luke, what did you think about that? Actually, also,
I actually liked it, just because it was different than All Stars 3 or 4, and I think it does then incentivize people to do well in the next daily. I don't know. I didn't put too much thought into it, but I didn't hate the idea.
Yeah, and Zoe and I were wondering what's going to happen, if the team with who has a star wins the daily. Are they going to get the star? Well, the rule is you don't have to come in first in the daily. You don't even have to come in second. You don't even have to come in third. You just have to be the top team without a star in the next daily to then get a star.
Yeah. I mean, if Steve and Adam could have given their star away, would they have given it to Veronica and Katie?
Most likely.
And that could have made some interesting, just like conversations to be had. I don't know. I really don't know.
Getting a star for coming in third place in a daily is weird.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. It's weird.
Well, if they weren't going to do it the elimination, they should have said whoever the first place person is gets it, or if you already have a star, then you can bestow it. That could have been a good compromise.
Yeah.
It's funny because it doesn't feel right, yet at the same time, I think this was easily the most competitive daily of the season because teams were really trying to get that star, especially the ones who didn't have one already.
Even Katie and Veronica were trying.
And yeah, let's talk about the daily itself. Players, as a tandem, they would have to go down these slides that were covered in paint, mud, tar. What was it?
Dirt.
Let's say dirt, yeah.
Yeah, like a dirt black substance, and below the dirt, there's these stars and patterns that the players would then have to decode what they are, swim out to a section that would then tell them like they would give them a puzzle key so they could get some letters to maybe then solve a keyword or phrase. And the team to do this in the fastest time possible would win the daily challenge.
I like the daily.
The daily was good.
Yeah, and there were a lot of really interesting strategies throughout the daily challenge. We saw Big T and Corey, I thought, actually had a pretty good strategy early on where they were just hanging on and using their legs to scrub the board.
I wish I knew how much time was devoted to all these things, like how it actually impacted them throughout the whole challenge. Because yes, and if they spent too much time working on that, I can't help but wonder, like, was that the most efficient? Could they have done a little bit of that and then spent the rest of their time better? But I like that there was some creativity, and Corey was actually like using the advantages he has as a freakishly tall human.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to imagine like it probably didn't take more time than it does to like fall down, swim over, and get back up. Because I feel like, that in itself probably takes a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Sam immediately threw herself horizontally off the board, and it looked actually like it took out a lot of dirt in the process.
It looked very effective.
Yeah.
I was wondering why people did not pick up this strategy and start doing it more. And I quickly deduced why. Because it's scary. Because you don't have control fully of your body as you're going down the same way you do when you go vertically. You're almost falling face first into the water no matter what, going that way. So I think that's the biggest reason why teams, if they did it maybe once and they just didn't consistently do it.
How big was like the drop from the thing into the water? Like
at least 10 feet.
Yeah, I think that they would have been wise to have done that. I do think Sam has a size advantage in this, whereas someone like Nany, I'm so serious. Someone like Nany, like turning sideways, like she just wouldn't have the same traction.
And honestly, like going down for some of these people, going down their butt was probably the best that they could do. Like I think of Amber. She's the tiniest human alive.
Yeah.
Amber and Fessy really could have done that big T and core strategy to great effect. Like,
dude, Fessy could have just like held on to Amber's ankles and let her just like do it with her hands.
True.
If they just did a double snow angel.
hold her there and just like windshield wipe her across the thing.
Every team was trying. Every team was trying their absolute best. And, we talked about it last week. Is Sam McGinn a top 5 challenger all time?
No.
Look, Sam is not good at the challenge, but Sam cannot stop winning.
True.
Because she gets a start this week.
She can't stop coming in second or third at least.
Look,
if Sam wins the season,
daily challenges, Sam wins them all. She wins a star this week.
If she wins the season, she might enter that conversation on a very, very big asterisk.
She's not winning the season, guys.
We don't know that yet.
I know it.
No.
I do know it.
I don't know.
I'm spoiler free and I know it.
I'm not spoiler free and I'm saying I don't know.
Don't fuck with me, Luke.
I am. I'm not going to allude to anything. But these past 2 weeks have been quite the turnaround because the first 4 episodes, I mean, she was not doing well. The most cardio she did was on a top bunk with Anissa, and like she's kind of killing it right now.
She did. Someone also alluded to the fact during the daily challenge that Sam only took 2 trips in total, and that Frank himself took 7 trips up and down the slide, which Frank is an absolute cardio beast if that's true.
So maybe Frank is better than all these other teams. Just Frank.
That might be it.
But would Frank be doing this well if he wasn't attached to Sam motivating him?
Oh, no, he would. Like,
yeah.
Frank has said many times he would much rather have preferred being paired up with Nany, a true rivals team. I think they would have been killing it.
And they wouldn't have won the Know Your Partner one. I will give you that. They wouldn't have won that one, but collectively,
drank the hell out of that milkshake.
Collectively, their performance would have been better, and they could win.
Yeah.
But anyway,
there's part of me that's like really like started hyping up Sam as a joke, but I got so into the joke that like I kind of lost who I am as part of myself, and now I'm kind of serious about it at times.
Yeah, that's what happens when you joke about something for too long.
Please.
But hey, you know what though? She's having a good time. You know, she's enjoying her experience.
I'm happy for her. I'm just not delusional.
She also decoded the word for them.
Yep. Yes,
That's
she
true.
did. That is true.
Which was ultimately what you had to do to win the daily challenge.
Yep. Yep.
Now, Frank and Sam have a star. Good for them. I never imagined it was ever going to happen in the elimination arena for them. So they got it now. The overall winner of the daily challenge, though, was Steve and Adam, which means for the first time in 4 weeks, Steve and Adam are not going into elimination.
Steve and Adam also made that challenge look very easy.
Yeah.
Now that Fessy and Leroy are gone, Steve and Adam, I mean, we've already known they're the best team. It's why they're in elimination every week. But now that they're gone, they look very scary, and like it's very envisionable that they're either going to win the daily challenge or the elimination every week from here.
Which would make for a boring season, but
And then they're going to win the season.
I hope not.
Well, no, Sam's there, and Sam's just hooked to winning.
I have different thoughts, but I'll wait till the season progresses before I share those. I think with Fessy and Amber still there, with Nany and Turbo still there, even Shane and Davon, depending on what the final is, I think it could be anybody.
Well, I'll tell you,
Except-
based on today's episode, and if the final is anything similar to season 40, because they're obviously reusing stuff from 40 into this new season, Davon cannot swim at all.
That is true.
Oh, I forgot about that. We got to see that again in this episode.
But Cadence can swim.
They used all the swimming in finals on season 40, so there probably won't be any swimming in this final.
I thought they jumped off all the buildings in 40, and then they're jumping them off all of them in 41. Or All-Stars 5 is 41. Let's not play around.
Yeah.
So Adam and Steve get the win. We go back to the house, and we have to decide. People are deciding who's going to be getting voted in. Honestly, like a real obvious voting would be Veronica and Katie, because they've been one of the only teams siding with Adam and Steve this entire game. Another option on the table is obviously some of the teams with stars and power players. Veronica gets to work. She goes into full force and decides, I'm playing the game today. And people who were questioning, like, why is Veronica still on the show? Why is Veronica still on the show? What can she even bring? An episode like this happens every now and again and shows you why she's a legend of the game.
Veronica parading around the house in her, what would you call that? A caftan? A muumuu? It really brought something out of me because she's just being messy, but messy to benefit her game.
And smart, I think, because because here's the thing. Veronica, who are the two players she targeted, like specifically like the most?
Don't quiz me.
Melissa and Nicole.
And then
Amber and Fessy?
Yeah. And what is very specific about Amber and Melissa that's different from so many of these cast members?
Their mothers. Just kidding.
They're not OGs. They are not fans of the challenge. That's the difference between some of like, if you ask an OG, like, oh, what is Veronica good at? Oh, she's good at playing the game. She's good at manipulation. She's good at, using her mouth. Amber and Melissa did not go back and watch old seasons. They're not those type of people. They don't understand the history of this show. So Veronica was able to spread these rumors, and because of their perception of her, she was able to get those rumors really spreaded and like get them off their kill. Then Amber and Melissa then went to talk to their allies, like, did you hear this is going on in the house? This is going on in the house. It was the right people to spread it to because they don't understand how dangerous Veronica is.
Yeah.
I mean, Amber thinks they're like good friends, so
every time she says it, I'm like, stop. I think that Veronica doesn't really like anybody except for the people she has deemed in her head that she likes. And I don't think Amber's ever been one of them.
Veronica, I don't think she dislikes Amber, but Veronica ultimately is a game player. And that's the thing, like, because Amber said, like, oh, Veronica would never lie to me. It's like, I laugh not because I think like, oh, Veronica's some like lying player. She's just a true game player. She's someone who convinced her entire team to throw a daily challenge so that she could win a lifesaver. Like that is the powerful player that Veronica is. Even last All-Star season, she got Nicole, who called her out to elimination, to like send her back to safety while on the elimination floor.
Yeah, even if she thinks she has no chance in winning this game, winning this final, like she's there on a mission to play the game, to cause chaos, to make good TV. Like she knows how to do that and she's gonna do it.
And initially, Veronica was going for Nicole and Melissa to be kind of the targets for the House vote and elimination. She gets those spreaded. She gets it to Amber. Amber and Fessy then go to their Amber and Fessy then go to their alliance, and they get thrown off kilt by this idea. And they're scrambling now. And the vote from there is Nicole and Melissa somehow deflect and be like, well, how about Dario and Ashley? And the second Veronica hears this, she's like, yeah, that's an even better idea because that's a stronger team with the star.
And the blood isn't on her hands because Melissa's the one that offered it up.
Like we're gonna do some backtracking and forth, but like the house vote happens and like Dario and Ashley end up the house vote wherever their name gets set once. They weren't even expecting it, and then everyone just jumped right on top of it.
And I don't blame them.
It really caught them off guard. People in the house weren't even sure how it fully happened. Fessy said it at Deliberation. People are saying rumors that I don't even know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But
And it was this whole question of who is they? Like they are in everybody's ear, they are whatever. One thing I did not like in this deliberation was TJ pressing Davon so hard. I'm like, who'd you hear this from? Come on, just say it. And I'm like, they're playing a game. Like, just because you're the host that like pops up with your script does not mean that Davon has to sell out her. I don't know. It really frustrated me because TJ does that sometimes. Sometimes he does things and I'm like, oh, heck yeah. And then other times I'm like, you're actually interfering with the sanctity of this game. Shut up.
Well, it did bother me too because everyone was clearly just like jumping on the bandwagon with this vote. I mean, it's really clear to see. Maybe it's editing. Maybe he pressed other people on it too, and we just didn't see that. But I thought it was weird. Just like, do you really not realize what's happening, TJ? All of them are just saying, fine, I'll vote for them as long as it's not me.
Right.
it was such good gameplay by Veronica and Katie. Katie also deserves credit too, because Katie was also working her butt out talking to people. They are not going to be able to replicate this ever again because, well, they probably burned a lot of bridges this 1 week. However, they should have never been able to get away with this in the first place because they're a team that's off everybody's radar. They are basically on an island of their own in terms of alliance-wise, except for Steve and Adam and Shane and Davon. But Shane is also like tethered to this alliance, Davon, who's on the other side of the house completely, and Davon was plotting with the other side of the house to vote in a completely different team beforehand already. So they are on their own, and just as a team of one, they got the entire house to flip. First on Nicole and Melissa, and then on to Dario and Ashley. Very impressive. Amongst all this, though, Nany and Fessy really disappointed me this episode because they are like the head. They're the heads of what is supposed to be like the alliance controlling the house, and they let a rumor from Veronica and Katie just completely turn their game upside down for a week.
I don't think this aspect of the game has ever been something Fessy's been good at. I think that Fessy relies on not getting voted in because he thinks he's intimidating. So I don't think he actually considers a lot and is often just told what to do. And Nany's just like, I don't think this is a strength of hers. I think Nany gets along with a lot of people and likes a lot of people, but I don't think that she's like dictating things that happen. But she also just seems checked out.
And has Nany ever played with Veronica before?
They've been on like seasons together.
I guess double agents, yeah.
Yeah, they've been on seasons together, but they never like played the game together.
Or yeah. Ryder does, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I guess they just played like two very different games. Like, we've never seen Nany, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we've never seen her like so discord with misinformation. Like, I think she has a much more straightforward game than Veronica. And I think that one skill that Nany does have sometimes is that, like, she has the as long as it's not me mentality, and I think that's what happened in this episode.
I agree. I think that Nany's used to people just bringing her information and going along with it, but she's not like realizing that people aren't bringing her information directly. And with the way that these things are happening, the next week, it very well could be about her and Turbo.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy to me because they could look at their alliance numbers in the face and be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, we can control the vote. Whatever we say is going to happen. But one little rumor spreads, one vote goes on to Ashley and Dario, and then everyone just starts rolling.
Yeah, you just got to get your people in line, but nobody was willing to take charge other than Veronica.
This is like, we made fun of him a bit ago for having his like 87-person vacation alliance, but this is where Devin is strong at the game of like getting the numbers in line, getting people together, because if he was there, this vote probably would not have gone this way.
For sure.
Now, the question is, who is going to be Dario and Ashley's opponent in elimination? Fessy and Amber are on the board because that's a really strong team. You put two strong star holder teams together. Maybe Turbo and Nany are on the board. Put another strong star holder team against them. What happens at the arena, though?
They call out who I think is predictable.
I thought, I said aloud as all this was happening while I was watching it, I was like, well, if they want to make the safe move, they'll vote in Corey and Big T because that's the name they've been saying all game. I don't really think it makes sense right now to do the safe move, but if that's what you want to do, go for it.
I didn't see it coming, personally. I didn't see it coming whatsoever, in part because I forget Corey and Big T are there a lot of the time. And then secondly, I thought it was such a safe move and such a disappointing move given their limited amount of power. Like, they're not limited, but like a temporary amount of power. I also thought Frank and Sam would be a choice because Adam has talked about wanting to go for Frank and Sam the last few weeks. However, we talked about on the podcast last week, do you want to derail your game by going for a personal vengeance of going after Sam? Like Sam and Frank, when you know that Sam is not a threat in the final?
Right. Yeah. And I've forgotten all the spoilers except for like the winner. So like I'm enjoying these episodes too because I didn't even realize Dario and Ash were going in. And I did for a second think they would pick someone other than Corey and Big T. But I mean, I guess if you're at the place that Adam and Steve are at, they've kind of been dominating the game. You can do whatever you want to.
But because you can, I was fully expecting it to be Nany and Turbo. I think it's a really even matchup for an elimination. And you're automatically putting another star back on the table for someone else to grab and getting rid of one of your biggest final threats.
True.
And they did flash back to a scene where it's Adam and Steve cutting a deal with Nany and Turbo, and then Fessy and Amber individually being like, "Hey, if we don't vote you in this time, you'll get us one back." My problem with this though was that there was never anything set in stone in the way they agreed to things, and it was a little bit too vague, and it was expecting a little too much. It's like it's not a deal where you can fully expect it to be repaid.
Also, Adam and Steve, you've been the House vote. So like they really can't do that much to protect you even if they win. If they win, they can do even less to protect you.
Right.
That's where like the Big T and Corey vote disappoints me because I felt like the deals they made were very naive deals.
It was,
Elimination time.
yeah.
Corey and Big T versus Dario and Ashley. I like this elimination. It seemed like a fair elimination based on, anyone could kind of win. The only really advantage that I feel like was discernible is that if you're taller, you have probably a better chance of reaching for the puzzle pieces up top. Then again, if you're taller, you probably weigh a little bit more, and that makes the balancing aspect a little bit more tough.
And if you're tall and a little bit goofy, balance.
The elimination was you grab a bunch of puzzle pieces while you stood on a saucer as a team that balances back and forth. Then you had to place some puzzle pieces up in the middle, stack them up top, and then once your puzzle pieces are all stacked together, you have to try and stand on it balanced for 10 seconds.
It might have even been 5, but yeah.
Might have been 5.
Yeah, 5 seconds. Really close, really back and forth the entire time. It's a more entertaining elimination to watch than it is to talk about.
Yeah. You kind of have to see it to get it, but it felt like one of those eliminations that one tiny mistake would reset, and so it could have really gone either way at any point.
Yes.
I had my eyes on Corey for a couple of reasons. We've made fun of it before, but like his inability to stand on a balance board killed him on season 39. And so you go into this elimination, it's like, well, this is an unstable board, so how is he going to balance? However, he did eliminate Jay in that one elimination where you had to stack puzzle pieces and balance them together. So his history with this is very hit or miss, like literally.
He's an unpredictable competitor. He can look really good and he can look really terrible in a day.
Do we really have anything to say about this elimination other than who won?
I don't.
Mm-mm.
And I'm sorry to people out there, just watch this elimination. It's fun. It was not a bad elimination. You just have to literally watch it to get it. It was kind of close even to the end.
Yeah.
Dario and Ashley pull off the win. And not gonna lie, for a second, because the millisecond they won, Dario in excitement smashed their tower. And for a second, I thought we were going to get a flashback to Bloodlines of when he pushed his brother Rafi mid elimination and cost him the win. I don't know how he didn't have PTSD from that moment because he smacked that tower so fast. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna lose the elimination right now because of it.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen because I do want to see more of this Ashley and Dario story play out. I don't care to see more of Big T and Corey on All Stars. And I'm a little disappointed too because during filming, it was said that Big T and Melissa had a falling out, and perhaps it was after the season ended. But like, we didn't see any of that, so maybe it just wasn't true. But I am excited that Ashley and Dario are still there.
Also, Melissa watching Big T, like the moment when they were going to lose, when they made like a fatal mistake, she literally looked like someone that was watching like her animal get hit by a car.
Right.
It was so dramatic. I love her for it because she's insane. But yeah, that this duo actually I do hope we see on future seasons, but I didn't really understand the point of them on All Stars. I do think it was cool for them to have like a resolution to their story. I think Corey is genuine in his chaos and also in his like the things that he does that are not so great and the way that he feels about Big T and what he did and said to her and Melissa on the last season they were on together. So I thought that was a very Corey moment, very authentic Corey moment at the end.
What's tough about this pair was that they were essentially already friends again by the time the second season started. I would have loved to see some like if they had more angst and turmoil between them that was like genuine.
Yeah.
But in reality, they were Corey did a shady thing to her, but they were just friends the entire way. They weren't rivals.
Yeah.
Every time these two cut confessionals on the show, there was a lack of authenticity to them that I felt like compared to the other OG cast members. Not that even that they were fake, but it's just there was a contrived nature to the way they were talking on camera that just didn't settle in with the rest of the show and what All Stars has been. And I'd like to see Corey again on like a 41 or a 42, but as a whole, like I didn't need them on this season.
Same. And I hate to be this type of person because I typically hate seeing these people online. But I do want to see, like, I don't want it to be all OG because, again, the show is not OG. Like, that's not the name that we went with. But, like, I just think about even season 1, like, returns from Alton, returns from Kendall. Like, it's those people we're missing that made All Stars, like, really fun. Like, oh my gosh, who do they grab? And having Big T and Corey does absolutely nothing for me. It felt like a lot of these people, and I think we've said this before, that this was like, oh, we wanted you on 40, but we didn't have enough room on 40, so we're going to throw you a bone in the same place we filmed 40, but we're going to call it something else.
Yeah.
We are getting like very funny, like mix up of characters that you never really expected, though.
Right.
Just a clash of eras on these All Star seasons now. Like, you know, you're having Corey and Adam fighting with each other both on the show and then on the Twitter timeline. It's just imagine explaining that to someone like 5 years ago. Hey, Adam from Road Rules, who hasn't been on the show in 15 years, he's going to be fighting online on Twitter with this guy from the 12 Dates of Christmas. And one of them may or may not be in a Twitter group chat with fans, and they're exposing Twitter, their text messages to each other online, and it's going to be messy like that.
It's too much.
It is a weird timeline. So,
Dario and Ashley win the elimination. I was also shocked a little bit because I felt like the episode was forecasting them to lose in the edit. Because like, oh, we need to have this conversation together. We need to talk about this serious stuff. And after last week, where it was painted, Dario was kind of painted as a traitor to Leroy, it would make sense that he would then get his comeuppance the following week. Instead, they come together, they win, they look like a strong team, and then they have their conversation after where they're like, Dario's like, hey, I'm sorry, I was a fuckboy, I ran away from you, and I'm really sorry about everything I did.
She looked like she still had feelings.
So did he.
Oh, I agree, but like I feel like they just need to say it. Like,
Well, he did say we're both single. He did follow it up with a very cringy line of, but I'm married to the money.
yeah.
She definitely is not over it. She said something about closure. I was like, girl, this was not closure. And he is seeing how gorgeous and carefree she is on this season.
And I just had a very bad moment, like in my brain involving the challenge universe, where I just about said, well, in Dirty 30, like they were still together then. That wasn't even that long ago. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. That was almost 8 years ago. Whoa.
Yeah.
When will it end? Will it ever end?
I've been covering the show since then, Luke, and it's been a ride.
Yeah.
Every time a cast member though says like, "This is $300,000 for me to win," I do laugh a little bit because it doesn't have the same sticking figure as $500,000 or $1 million. And then I'm like, and you're also splitting it with a partner, hopefully.
And you're also being taxed a ton.
Yeah, so people are talking about these ideas of like, I'm going to open, Corey said it like, I'm going to open the first, I'm going to try and open an inclusive section in Seattle. And I'm like, well, $150,000. I don't think that's happening. And
Right.
then secondly, I feel like of all the places to have an inclusive gym, it would probably be Seattle.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
But you know what? It's a good idea to have. Probably not the show. I mean, if you want to take that money, invest it in something, and then maybe that investment hits. Maybe do a rug pull. I don't really know. Like,
We don't know his business model. He could be very creative with his gym.
My favorite business model is Ashley Millionaire Mitchell's. Do you know what she's done with her money?
No.
She invested in rental properties in Vegas. Like, she put in for them to be built, and now she collects monthly on the rents, things like that. And like, she invested.
and then she goes to live in dirt poor countries.
Yeah.
Killing it, Ashley.
She is.
And that's why Luke's back on the podcast, so we can talk about Ashley.
Exactly.
Dario and Ashley do have a moment where, like, we're one of the strongest teams. We showed people that, like, by winning this elimination, not to mess with us. I thought the opposite a little bit, not in that way, but it's just like, oh, now that once you've been in an elimination, you're going to be in elimination again, just like Adam and Steve, because we've seen how easy it is to be the house vote again and again. And I don't think they're quite as good of a team as Adam and Steve.
Right.
So they got to win some daily challenges and hope people make some big moves. They maintain their stars. No stars are on the table yet. So, yeah, we're down to final 8 already. And because of that, we're already kind of in the end game because there's going to be another 3 or 4 more eliminations and then the final.
And the scenes from next week look interesting. Also, Veronica has a line where she literally sounds like a soprano, like she's like a mob boss. So I can't wait to have some context around that.
Of these 8 teams, let's talk about real quick who can win and who cannot win. Let's start off immediately. Veronica and Katie cannot win.
I don't see it.
Not a chance.
Second team you think cannot win?
Frank and Sam.
Nicole and Melissa.
I would have went Nicole and Melissa before them as well because I don't think they can solve puzzles at all. So those two.
I was going to say after that, I would say Frank and Sam.
So those two in some order.
If you can time out on a puzzle, I would still put Nicole and Melissa in the running to come in third or fourth. Okay, after Frank and Sam, Nicole and Melissa.
Well, here's the problem, because I would probably say Shane and Davon.
I'm going to go with Dario and Ashley because I just think they're not good enough. I think they can't add or do multiplication. And there's just so many puzzles now in these finals. I think cardio-wise, they're one of the strongest teams, but like puzzle-wise, they can't win.
I'll also be really surprised if they make it to the final, like based on what we just talked about.
Yeah.
So Shane and Davon would be next up, though. After that, I would say.
Yeah, and that leaves us with Adam and Steve, Nany and Turbo, Fessy and Amber. And for that, if they make it to the final, it really is just about what the skill set is.
I kind of like Nany and Turbo's chances based on the fact that Adam and Steve just have such a bigger target on them.
Zoe can't let her hopes get up.
Guys, I've accepted that Nany's not winning this show. She's not getting a winner's edit right now.
She is not. I will say that. She is not. Her and Turbo have not been terrible, but their chemistry, I mean, not for obvious reasons, but like, I think actually Nany's, even at times, been part of the problem, but their chemistry is just not there.
Not at all. It's the dynamic between them is so different than what it was on War of the Worlds, and where they really brought out, I feel like, the best in each other on War of the Worlds. Now they don't like each other. No one likes Turbo, myself included. Nany's like so desperate for a win that the stress of it is getting the better of her, and Turbo's not the partner that can settle her nerves.
Right.
Yeah, I hate to say this, and Nany kind of has to let Turbo take more of the lead, just because as crazy as that man is, he is a very good competitor. He does figure out ways how to do these daily challenges. And their current dynamic where they're sharing things 50-50 with her guard kind of up is kind of leading them to being an awkward mix. So
I agree. In the challenges, she needs to let him be in charge. And then if she wants to be in charge of politics, social relationships, house stuff, then she should take charge there.
This is off topic. Did you see where the Turkish government is looking for him?
No.
He released a song. I'm not sure if you heard the song, but it is sexually explicit, like explicit. And that breaks several laws in Turkey. And they're actively looking for him to like have him come in for questioning and like be prosecuted likely. But he's in Chile filming the challenge. Like, it's just too funny. Off topic, I'm sorry, but I think it's the funniest thing.
No, it is funny.
a lot of stuff's going on in Turkey, and you know what? I'm not gonna get too into it because I'm afraid the Turkish government's gonna come down and like block this podcast or something like that.
We love Turkey.
I don't need any hair plugs yet, so I have no plans to visit anytime soon, but
I'll be there in the next 2 years at this point.
No, your hair is magnificent, Luke.
Thanks.
You just need one of these luxurious hair towels like I have. I'm actually entering my influencer era. That's why I'm modeling this for everyone tonight.
I love it.
Well, that's our podcast. Make sure to listen to us next week again. We're gonna talk about episodes. Actually, you know what? I want to give a warning to everyone. There's a chance we might not have a podcast next week. I'm going to be traveling back to California to visit my family because I'm traveling. I'm going to bring my podcast equipment. My goal is that we do record a podcast, but if it doesn't happen, it might not happen because I'm just busy with stuff. So giving you all that warning, there's a 50-50 chance there'll be a podcast.
Maybe it'll just have to be Luke and I.
Ooh.
Thing.
Ooh. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you get the podcast. There'll be a podcast here somehow, some way. Have a great weekend, everyone.